Hi guys, welcome to the next one, section B of the practice set 2. Obviously this is the calculator one, so you're going to need one of these. Definitely, obviously if you don't have one of these, you might as well use the one on your phone. But yeah, in the exam you'll definitely get the basic calculator. So let's make a start. Question 1. Johan works in a cafe. One morning he sells 48 cups of tea, 12 cups of coffee. Write down the ratio of the number of cups of tea to the number of cups of coffee. Write your answer in its simplest form. Ooh, good question. Let me get my pen. So for any ratio question, I would always write the ratio first, and you do it in the order that they tell you. So it's number of cups of tea to the number of cups of coffee. So we need tea to coffee like this. Okay. How many cups of tea did they say? So they said 48. So that goes there. And obviously that's in cups. And 12 cups of coffee. That goes on that side. So that's the ratio of tea to coffee for number of cups of tea to the number of cups of coffee. We need to simplify this. So very similar to simplifying fractions, you have to look at what goes on both sides, which number goes into both of these at the same time. So some of you might have noticed you could maybe do 2, you can do 4, and so on. In fact, yeah, let's do 4. So I can see straight away. 4 goes into that, and 4 goes into that. So 4 goes into 12 3 times, and 4 goes into that 12 times. But just be careful, this is not your final answer. You have to keep simplifying until you can't simplify anymore. Always recheck, does any other number go into either of these? And yeah, it does. You can see that 3 goes into that, and 3 goes into that. So 3 into 3 is once. 3 into 12 goes 4 times. And yeah, you can't simplify anymore. Nothing else goes into these apart from 1. So 4 to 1 is your final answer. You might have noticed, some of you might have noticed you could have done, in one step, because this was in a couple of stages. In one step, you could have seen that 12 goes into that, and 12 goes into that as well. 12 goes into that once, and 12 goes into that 4 times. You would have got the same answer. It makes no difference how you get your answer. You can do it in stages, or you can do it in one go. It makes no difference. But you do have to show how you got your answer, because it's 2 marks. Yeah. And, technically that is your working out when you show these steps here. That's probably the best way of doing it. Let's see what's next. Customer buys 4 cups of tea. Johan puts sugar in 2 of the cups of tea. Customer picks up 1 cup at random. What's the likelihood that the customer picks a cup of tea with sugar? A lot of people got this wrong when I was marking it. So, don't just pick a random question. It's completely, we do have to work it out. There is some logic to this. If we can get our answer as a fraction first, then we can see where it goes on the probability scale. So this is the topic to do with probability, obviously. So let me just have a look. Let me just get a pen. Well, we have to use this information. We've got 4 cups of tea, 2 of the cups have sugar in, so that's 2 out of 4, which simplifies to a half. So, if you do look at probability, do have a look at the probability scale. You've got, on one end of the scale, you've got 0, you've got 1 on the other side, you've got half in the middle. That's to do with It's like a 50-50 chance, isn't it? So it's even, an even chance. If it's 1, if it's moving towards 1, it's a likely. So it's likely here. It's moving towards the 1. If it goes this way, if it's moving towards the 0, then it's unlikely. Yeah, you got unlikely there. If it's 1, that's certain. That's definitely going to happen. If it's 0, that's impossible. Can't fit it on there, but yeah, impossible is there. So if it's half, definitely even. So you tick, where is it? Even chance. There you go. 1 mark for that. Don't spend ages on this. Again, just 1 mark. But you should figure out that it's a half, which is even anyway. Yeah. But yeah, something like this, definitely try and work it out first. Don't just guess. Let's move on. Question 2. Sam is a manager in an office. She wants to buy 14 new chairs. Each chair costs £73. Sam will also be charged 20% VAT on the cost of the chairs. Sam has £1,200 to buy the chairs. Is £1,200 enough to buy 14 chairs? 4 marks for this. Okay. So we've got a calculator, haven't we? Yeah. So we can, well, we'll have to work out 20% of a chair, or you could do, you could work out what 14 chairs would be and then add on the VAT afterwards. VAT, if you're not sure what VAT is, literally means value added tax. It's a tax that's added on. Tax is always added on, unfortunately, in this country. So anything to do with tax, anything to do with VAT is always added on. So we're gonna have to work out 20%. Sometime at some point, we're gonna have to work out 20% and add it on. Whether you do it at the beginning, whether you do it at the end, makes no difference. You'll still get full marks. I'm going to do it at the beginning. So let's say that 1 chair is £73. That's without VAT. Let's work out 20% of that. So again, you can't put 20% as the percentage side. You have to say 20%. That's what 20% actually looks like. 20 over 100. 20% of 73. Let's work that out on the calculator. Don't be tempted to do the 10% and then work all that nonsense. That's just for non-calculator papers. Yeah, for the calculator paper, just stick it in your calculator. You get your answer straight away. 20% of 73, which is 14.6. Yeah, and that's going to be in pounds, obviously. So that's going to be £14.60. Yeah, because it's VAT, we'll have to add it on. So plus 73, it's going to cost £87.60 with VAT. Yeah, that's with VAT added on. That's for 1 chair. So for 14 chairs, will be 14 times that, which is 1,226.4. So that's 0.40 on your paper. Yeah, don't leave it as just a 4 on its own. I know it says 0.4 on your calculator, but don't just leave it like that. And you should get pretty close to what they were saying. He thinks, or he has £1,200. If you get pretty close to that, you're on the right lines. If you're nowhere near that, you've gone wrong somewhere. So do double check. He has £1,200. Is £1,200 enough? No. You can just say £1,200 is not enough. Yeah, and we can see that in your working out. That's 4 marks right there. Yeah, you could have worked out what it was for 73 chairs to begin with. Sorry, not 73 chairs, 14 chairs to begin with, and then add on the VAT. You would have got £1,226.40 anyway. However you work it out, we need to compare that with the £1,200 that he's got. Yeah. That's your 4 marks right there. Well, let's move on. This type of question again. Okay, we've seen these type of questions before. They love to throw these in, don't they? And look how many marks it is. 5 marks for this. Here is a garden and a pond. Garden and the pond are rectangular. Kayla is covering the garden with grass seed. She will not put any grass seed in the pond. 1 box of grass seed covers 15 meters squared of garden. Work out the number of boxes she will need to cover the garden. Okay, right. So first of all, always ask yourself, is it to do with area or is it to do with perimeter? You know, that's the very first thing I would ask myself. Look for clues in the question. So, all right, it's to do with a rectangle, but that doesn't tell you anything. That just tells you it's a rectangular pond. It could be perimeter. We don't know. Let's look at other clues. Where is this grass seed actually going? It's going to cover the garden, inside the garden. Yes, covering the, there you go, covering the garden. So it's going to go all the way inside here, but not in the pond. Yeah, so she's not going to put any in the pond. So covering, it's going to cover the garden. There's your first clue. Definitely to do with the inside, definitely area. There's your second clue. 1 box of grass seed covers 15 meters squared. Anything to do with units squared is to do with area. So this is definitely area. Yep. So again, you know, similar question that we've done before. The idea behind it, we're going to work out the area of the garden, work out the area of the pond, and take away the pond, because we don't want the pond. We don't want the area of the pond. So that's the idea behind it. Yeah. Let's do the area of the garden first, which is length times width. That's the formula. Again, you need to know that. You need 1 length multiplied by 1 width. 14 times by 9. Let's work it out on the calculator. 126. And that is meters squared. There's your first mark. Let's work out the area of the pond. Again, that's going to be length times width. That's going to be 3.8 times 2.4. Let's work it out. 3.8 times 2.4. That's going to be 9.12. The calculator. That's meters squared. That's your second mark. Obviously, I'm going to carry on over here. If you guys do it underneath, if you do it underneath the working out you've just done, so obviously we're going to have to take it away. So you're going to do 126 take away 9.12, which gives you, so 126 take away that 116.88 meters squared. That's your third mark. So this is the area we need to cover, 116.88 meters. That's the area that's going to get the grass seed. Yeah. So that's the area she needs to cover. How many boxes of grass seed? Well, 1 box equals, or 1 box covers 15 meters squared. So if we see how many 15s go into that, that will tell us how many boxes we need. Yeah, so again, it's going to be 116.88 divided by 15. Don't be tempted to multiply these. And a lot of people do get mixed up, whether you're supposed to divide, whether you're supposed to multiply. A good way of doing it is just write what information have you got. You've got 1 box equals 15 meters squared. That's what we're told. How many meters squared have we got? Well, we've got this much meters squared. Yeah. How do I get from that to that? I'm going to have to increase it. But what is that increase, though? How are you going to find that increase from 15 to 116? What do you have to multiply 15 to get that? Well, to find that number, you'll have to divide it first. You'll have to do 116.88 divided by 15. That's where it comes from, the divide. So it's 7.792 times bigger. So it's 15 times, I'm going to have to write it here, 7.792 times bigger. So if you multiply that side by 7.792, you'll have to multiply this side by 7.792, which is obviously 7.792 number of boxes. But where did that 7.792 come from? You'll have to divide it. You'll have to do 116.8 divided by 15. How many 15s go into it? So if you're not sure, do write the information that you've got. Use proportion to figure out whether you're multiplying or whether you're dividing. How many times bigger is that? Whatever you do to one side, you'll have to do to the other. You'll figure out yourself whether you have to multiply or whether to divide. Where did that number actually come from? You'll figure it out yourself. Yeah. And in this case, it is 7.792. And that's the number of boxes. Okay. So obviously you can't go into the shop and buy 0.792 of a box. 7 wouldn't be enough. So we're going to need 8 boxes. That's your final answer. So what was that? 1, 2, 3. There's your 4th mark. There's your 5th mark. Yep, there's your 5 marks right there. Okay, let's move on. Oh, they gave us loads of space for that. Look how much space they give you. Probably don't need it. Let's move on to question 4. Dave is going on holiday to Madrid. Temperature tomorrow in Madrid will be 21 degrees C. Dave uses this rule to change the temperature into Fahrenheit. So you've got temperature in degrees C, multiply by that, add that, and so on. Dave thinks the temperature in Madrid will be more than 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Is Dave correct? Show why you think this. 3 marks for this. Dead easy. We've seen this type of question before. You just follow the arrows, follow the rule. So you've got temperature in degrees C, which is that, times by 1.8. Let's do that on the calculator. 21 times 1.8. So I get 37.8. You get 1 mark just for showing that. Then you have to add 32. Just use your calculator. Plus 32. You get 69.8, and that's in degrees Fahrenheit. 3 marks just for doing that. Oh wait, we've only got 2 marks. Is Dave correct? We have to answer the question. Is Dave correct? So we've only got 2 marks so far. He thinks it'll be more than 70 degrees. Is he correct? Nope. It will be less than 70 degrees Fahrenheit, or something along those lines. You know, link it back to your working out. There's your 3rd mark right there. Yes, don't forget to say yes or no. In this case, no, it will be less than 70 degrees. Dead easy. Let's move on. Question 5. Kai works in a call center. The table shows the number of phone calls he receives each day. Draw a bar chart to display this information. Ooh. 3 marks for this. So yeah, you definitely need to know how to draw a bar chart. Can I move this out of the way? Should be okay. So you always have frequency or the number on the side here. Yeah. So in this case, these numbers represent number of calls. Let's label it. And at the bottom, that's going to be the days. Yeah, make sure you label it. What does it go up to? 240 is the biggest one. See how many boxes we've got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 big boxes. Let's have a look at the numbers. 240, 140, 185. So they're either going up in 5s or 10s, probably 5s, I think. So something like 40 wouldn't be good. If you go up in 40s, I wouldn't do that, because you can have a weird number for each of these little boxes. So I'd probably use 50. I'd use, obviously we've got 0 at the bottom here. For that one, I'd put 50. 100 for that. 150. 200 and 250 for that. So I've got 10 little squares in there. 10 little squares. That would be 5 for each one. This will make our graph nice and neat. I'm not having to work out half a square or any nonsense like that. So yeah, do look at the numbers as well. You know, if you've got weird numbers, then yeah, you might need to work out what it is for half a square, things like that. And it just messes things up. You know, if I went up in 40s instead, it would be a complete mess, and I'd be spending ages trying to work it out. So use something sensible like this. Right. So Monday. Have I zoomed in too much? Probably. Let me have a look. Let me just double check something. 1 second. Oh, that would have been better. Yeah, I should have done that. It's okay. It's fine. Let me just leave it like that. It's going to mess up. Okay, let me start again. 1 second. Let me zoom in, because it looks better like that. Let me redo these. So we got 0 for that. 50. 100. 150. 200. 250. I think it's a good idea to use as much space as you can. In the mark scheme, it says as long as you use more than half the graph that they provide, that's the main thing. So don't make it really small. You know, make sure you fill as much as this as you can. That was the number of calls, and this was days. So let's do. Let's put days here. Let's put Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Yeah, that's going to fit. Let's put a gap in between. You don't have to put a gap. It's absolutely fine. You could just you could put it all together, Thursday and Friday, like that. Let me just move up. Let me see what the first one was. 240. Yep, 240 for that. So let me get my line. Hopefully you guys will be using a pencil and a ruler for this. 240 will be, don't like that. Let's turn the magnet off. 240 will be there. Oh, wow. Yep. There's your first one. 240. And then, let me just go up, 140. Which is, again, 2 squares below that. Try to be as accurate as possible. Slightly wonky. That's better. Okay. 185. Which is, well, if 200 is there, That's 195. That's 190. 185 is there. Yeah, 185 is there. Okay. $80 is the next one. 80, which is, well, if that's 50, that's 55. No, in fact, that's 75 there. 75 is halfway between. 80 is just one more up there. Yep, that's 80. And last one, 225. 225, which is halfway between 200 and 250. So right there. It's just it's worked out okay, hasn't it? There you go. That's what it should look like. And yeah, try to be as accurate as possible. Definitely use a pencil and a ruler for this. 3 marks. Even if you're slightly off, you know, you could get marked down for that. Just be really careful with these. Let's move on. Sina is a baker. She buys flour in 50 kg bags. Table below shows number of 50 kg bags of flour she used to make loaves in each of the last 4 weeks. Okay, we can see that. There's week 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. Sina will make 2,400 loaves in week 5. Okay. Each of these loaves will need 250 grams of flour. Sina works out the weekly mean number of 50 kg bags of flour used in these 5 weeks. She'll use this figure for future orders. Work out the weekly mean number of 50 kg bags of flour used in these 5 weeks. Okay. Good question. Good question. There's a lot of information in there. That's why. It's worth 5 marks, that's why. So let me highlight some of the key words. So it's definitely to do with mean for 5 weeks. Well, we've only got 4 weeks in the table, so we definitely need a figure here for the 5th week. How are we going to get number of bags for the 5th week? Let's have a look. Let's have a look at the information. Oh, there you go. There's the information about the 5th week right here. She'll make 2,400 loaves in week 5. Okay. Each of these loaves will need 250 grams of flour. Okay. So in week 5, she makes 2,400 loaves. Each needs 250 grams. So it's going to be, let me just show you on the side. If one loaf is 250 grams, that's how many grams of flour it needs. We've got this much loaves. That says loaves. There you go. How do I get from that to that? You're going to have to increase it. You're going to have to times it by 2,400. Yeah. So if you increase that side by 2,400, you're going to have to increase that by 2,400 as well. So let's do 250. Let's write it here, 250 times, in fact, no, I've already written it there, haven't I? Yeah, I'm going to have to do that times 250 grams. Let's work that out. So 2,400 times 250. Whoa. 600,000 grams. That's in grams. Yeah, because that was in grams as well. So that's how much flour she needs for week 5. How many bags would that be? Because we need number of bags, not number of grams. Number of bags. Well, each bag has 50 kg. Oh, that's in kilograms. That's in kilograms. That's in grams. So let's change the grams to kilograms. Okay, so 1 kg. We know that 1 kg is 1,000 grams. You definitely need to know that. That's one of the facts you guys definitely need to know. So don't get it mixed up with 100. You know, look for clues in the name. Kilo or K means 1,000. There's your clue right there. So if 1 kg is 1,000 grams, 600,000 grams. How do you get from that to that? How many thousands go into that will tell you. 600,000 divided by 600. Yeah, so it's 600. Yeah. So that's 600 times bigger than that. So this will be 600 kg. Yeah, 600 kg is the same as that. Where did I get that 600 from? Well, how many thousands go into it? You'll have to divide it. Yeah, that's where it comes from. So this is the same as 600 kg. Okay. We've probably got 2 marks so far. We've got 1 mark for this and 1 mark for that. So we've got 2 marks so far. So how many bags will that be then? So each bag holds 50 kg. So how many 50s go into that? Divide by 50. That's going to be 12. So that's going to be 12 bags. So there you go. That goes there. 12 bags in your table. And now we can work out the mean of 5 weeks. Yep. And how do we work out mean? We add them all up. So you do 7 plus 14 plus 8 plus 13. And now we can add the 12 as well. So 7 plus 14 plus 54 bags in total. And we're going to have to divide it by 5. So 54 divided by 5, because it's 5 weeks. Get 10.8. Is that our final answer? Let me just double check, work out the weekly mean number. Yeah, you can leave it like that. You can leave it as 10.8 bags. That's how much she needs. Or you can round it to 11 bags, you know, because she's going to use it to, because it says she's going to work out the weekly mean number. She's going to figure out for future orders how many bags she's going to order. So, you know, she can't buy 0.8 of a bag in future. She's going to have to buy 11 bags. So either 10.8 or 11 you can put as your answer. That's absolutely fine. There's your 5th mark right there. So you got 1, 2, 3 for that, 4 for that, 5th mark for either that or that. There's your 5 marks right there. Yeah. So always look for clues in the question and plan ahead. Let's move on to the next one. Oh, where's it gone? Here we go. Oh, part B says show a check of your answer. Right. So when it says this, you're going to have to go backwards. I've just deleted it. I think it was 10.8, wasn't it? Let's use 10.8. Oh, how did I get answer? So we did, how did we get 10.8? We did, can't remember what we did now. Let me just go back. $54 divided by 5. Yeah. Let me rewrite it here in part A. So this was our last bit of working out. We did 54 divided by 5 to get 10.8. Or you might have rounded it to 11 bags. Yeah, that was the last bit we did. So when it says show a check, we have to do the opposite of that. So we have to start with either this or this. Let's use the 10.8. And the opposite of divide by 5 is multiply by 5. So if you times that by 5, you should get what it was originally, which is 54. Or if you used 11 as your answer, you can still do 11 times by 5. So this is a second method. 11 times by 5, which is 55, which is pretty close to 54. Yeah, which is close to 54. That's what they're looking for. You know, as long as you get close to what we originally said, which was 54, that's absolutely fine. Oh, and just be careful. Oh, wait. Calculate. Yes. Yeah, I've done it right. Just make sure the show a check is for what they asked for the mean. This was how we worked out the mean, wasn't it? 54 divided by 5. Yeah. Sometimes they'll specify what you're showing a check for, you know, because there's quite a lot of working out in that part A, wasn't there? So, yeah. Just make sure which bit are they asking for. Show a check for the mean for this case. So we'll have to do the opposite of what we did for the mean. Okay, there's your, oh, so 5, you know, 6 marks for that question, just for one question. There's a lot of marks. Let's move on. Question 7. Gordon buys a new slide for his garden. His garden measures 6 meters by 7 meters. Space for the slide must be a rectangle 3 meters by 1.5 meters, at least 2 meters away from the house, which is there at the bottom, at least half a meter away from a fence or any other feature. Okay, draw space for the slide on the square grid below. You've got a little key to tell you that 1 centimeter on the grid represents 50 centimeters. We need this. Yeah, this is very, very important. So you need to follow this. That's your fence, the dark line that's going around there. Yeah, something like this. You know, this type of question, don't spend ages on this. This would probably be the last question I would do. So I would skip it and come back to it. Because you can spend ages on something like this. Let's just do it now, though. Right. Let me just change the thickness of that because it's a little bit too thick. Okay, so let me just see. Let's go back. Garden measures 6 meters by 7 meters. All right, yeah, we can see that. Okay. Rectangle. So how many squares do we need for these? Yeah, the space for the slide is a rectangle. So we're gonna have to draw a rectangle on there, on here somewhere. So I'm pretty sure there'll be loads of solutions for these. We just have to make sure we follow all these rules. Let's have a look. So I'm gonna draw. If it's 50 centimeters for each square, that means, let's change these to centimeters actually. So 3 meters is 300 by 150, which makes it, so if you divide that by 50, that'll tell you how many squares you need. You can use your calculators for this. You should get 6 squares by 3 squares. Yeah, that's how big it's going to be on the. So I'm going to need 6 squares by 3 squares on the grid. 2 meters away from the house. Well, that's 200 meters. Sorry, 200 centimeters. These are centimeters, by the way. 200 centimeters. How many squares? Divide by 50. You'll get 4 squares. So as long as it's 4 squares away from the house, which is at the bottom, that's good enough. And half a meter, well, half a meter is 50 centimeters anyway, isn't it? 50 centimeters, which is 1 square. So as long as it's 1 square away from any other feature, that's good enough. So just have to make sure we follow these rules. Let me get my line. Yeah, I reckon I can fit it here. So here's a good one. So I need 6 squares. Oh, what happened there? Let me make the line a little bit thicker. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 squares there. We'll redo that. There. By 3 squares there. Shape of a rectangle. That's good enough. There you go. 3 marks just for doing that. It's 1 centimeter. It's 1 square. Sorry, away from anything else. It's well away from the house. 2 meters away from the house. Yeah, and 1 square away from anything else. Yeah, that's good enough. You can do that. There's loads of solutions for these. I could have put it a little bit down. Could have put it there. You know, just a little bit lower. I could have put it on here. Let me just double check. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, I couldn't put it there. No, can't put it there because it's next to the shed. I could put it 1, 2, 3, 4. I know what I can do. I can put it here. 3 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You could have put it here as well. That's good enough as well. There you go. There's another solution. You only need to show one. You don't need to keep doing loads of them. So there's another solution. I'm sure there's loads of solutions. As long as you're 4 squares away from the house, there's the house right there at the bottom. So you have to be 4 squares away from that and 1 square away from anything else. That's good enough. Yeah, don't spend ages on this. Just 3 marks. Well, I say just 3 marks, but yeah, you know, don't spend ages on this. Let's move on. Question 8. Belinda asked 20 people, how many hours of TV did you watch last week? Here are the results. Belinda wants to show these results in a frequency table. She will use 4 equal groups. The first group will start with 1 hour, and the last group will end with 20 hours. Design and complete a suitable frequency table for 3 marks. Oh, okay, frequency table. So we need to know what frequency table is. Frequency table, you could just make we need frequency on one side. Wait a minute. Let me make this bigger. Frequency. Obviously, you need in there. And you need 4 equal groups. How many hours of TV? So these will be hours. Yeah. And you got 2 groups. Obviously, make your table a lot neater than mine. 4 equal groups. The first group will start with 1 hour. Okay. So between 1 and, well, if we need 4 groups, if it's going up to 20, 20 divided by 4 is 5. Let's do 1 to 5, 6 to 10, 11 to 15, and 16 to 20. There you go. There's 4 equal groups. Yeah. So what I did was 20 divided by 4, because I know I needed 4 equal groups. That's the key thing, equal. 20 divided by 4, which is 5. So I kept going up in 5s. That was the key thing here. And then you can just write your frequency. So you could have done a tally chart as well. That would have been absolutely fine. Just have tally marks in the middle and draw, have your frequency column on the right-hand side. But let's just do it this way. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Any more. That's it. 4 for that. That's good enough. 6 to 10. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep, that's 8 for that. 11 to 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. 16 to 20 is just 2. Yeah, if we add these up, you should get 20, hopefully. Let's do it. Let's add these up. 4 plus 8 gives you 12. 12 plus 6 is 18. Yeah, we do get 20. There you go. So we've done it right. If you've missed one, obviously just double check. It's a good idea to cross them out. I cross them out differently, you know, like in a different way, just so that I know which one I've done, so I don't get mixed up. I think it's a really good way of doing it. You know, you can do it differently. It's absolutely fine. But as long as you get the right number, that's the main thing. Let's move on. 3 marks just for doing that. All right. Dennis is making a container for tomato plants. Container will be in the shape of a cuboid. Capacity of the container will be 180 liters. 1 liter equals 1,000 centimeter cubed. Work out the length of the container. Give your answer to the nearest whole centimeter. This is a good question. 4 marks for this one. I know a lot of people did struggle with this when I was marking it. Just be careful with this one. You know, this is obviously to do with volume, because it's talking about liters, it's talking about capacity, definitely to do with volume. What do we know about volume? Well, there's only one formula you need to know about volume. Volume is length times width times, you can call it depth, you can call it height, whichever, as long as you get the 3 dimensions, these 3. Yeah, multiplying all together, that's your formula right there. Yes, that's what we're going to use for this. So you need to know this. Definitely you need to know that. Okay. Well, we know the volume because they've told us what it is. The volume is the capacity. Capacity is that 180 liters. So they've told us what the volume is. So if they tell you what the volume is, and you're trying to work out one of these sides, you have to work backwards. You know, it's one of them questions where they've given you the information. You're going to have to work backwards to work out one of those values that make the volume. So let's see what we have. We've got 180 liters. Right. You know, when we multiply these 3 together, we've got the length. Well, we don't know what the length is. That's what we're trying to work out. Yes, this is what we're trying to work out, the length. When we multiply it by the width with the height, you can call it depth, whatever you call it. When you multiply it with those 2 other dimensions, you're going to get your answer in centimeter cubed. Yeah. We've got a volume in liters, though. They've told us the volume is in liters. So they've told you this for a reason here. We're going to have to change it to centimeter cubed ourselves. Let's do that first. So if 1 liter equals 1,000 centimeter cubed, we've got this much, or this is what the container holds. Yeah. How do you get from that to that? Well, you'll have to multiply by 180. So you'll have to multiply this side by 180. So it's 180,000. Yeah, you don't need to calculate for that. 180 and 3 more zeros. 180,000 centimeter cubed. You can use your calculator if you wish to double check it, but you should get 180,000 centimeter cubed. You get 1 mark just for doing this, just by changing it from liters to centimeter cubed. So that's what the volume is in centimeter cubed. Let's put that down here. So underneath volume, that's going to be 180,000. That's equal to the length, which we don't know, times the width. Let's call it 40. Let's call the width 40, I mean. And the depth, let's call that one there, the other one, 55. Yeah, so something times 40 times 55 gives us that 180,000. What is that something? We're going to have to work backwards to figure out what this length is. Yeah. Well, we can work out 40 times by 55. Let's do that. 40 times by 55. Let me rewrite this. So this equals length. So I'll just multiply these 2 numbers together, 40 times by 55, and I get 2,200. Okay. Now it's a little bit easier. Something times 2,200 gives us that 180,000. What's that something? So I need that something on its own, just on its own, equal to something. So let's rearrange this. Let's work backwards. If you rearrange it, if you bring this whole thing to the other side, it doesn't become a multiply, it becomes a divide. Yeah, so this is what we do in GCSE as well. When you bring it to, when you ping it to the other side, some people call it ping it. When you move it to the other side of the equal sign, it changes from a multiply to a divide. So technically, you've got length equal to 180,000 divided by 2,200, and this you just stick it in your calculator. 180,000 divided by that, you get 81.81 recurring. Let's just leave it like that, and that's in centimeters. Yeah, because that's what they use. They use centimeters for all of these lengths. Give your answer to the nearest whole centimeter. How many marks have we got so far? We've probably got 3 marks so far. So we got 2 for that, and we've got 3 for that. We've got 3 marks so far. So to the nearest whole centimeter, well, there's my cutoff point. That's going to decide what happens to that. It rounds it up to 82 centimeter. Yeah, it's closer to 82 than it is to 81 or anything else. There's your 4th mark right there. Yeah, so don't be frightened with this question. You don't let it put you off. I know we have done volume before, and a lot of people did get this wrong, or they didn't know where to start. You know, you just need to remember this formula, and you'll realize you'll have to work backwards to work out the length. There's no other way of doing it, you know. So you'll soon realize that you need the same units. You'll have to change it. They've given you that for a reason as well. Yeah, let's use it. Let's move on. Question 10. Match each 3D shape to the correct net. Draw lines to show your answers. So you have to connect it with lines. Okay, let's do that. Well, what does a cube look like when it's opened up? Well, we should know it's definitely this one. So that goes with that one. This one right here, triangular prism, is made up of triangles and rectangles. So definitely that one. And that's a square-based pyramid. That's definitely that one. Yeah, it's got a square for the base. And you've got triangles for the side. Yep. Dead easy. 2 marks for that. And then it says, here is a cylinder. Which one of the shapes below could be the plan view of this cylinder? Tick the correct shape. Well, we need to know what plan view means. Plan view is looking from the top. So you're looking from there. What does it look like? Well, it looks like a circle. So tick that there. Mark, dead easy. Yeah, if you're not sure what these actually mean, plan view, front view, and so on, do look at plans and elevation. That's one of the topics that we covered before. It's in the Google Classroom, or have a look on MathsWatch. It'll explain it in there. Question 11. James wants to buy a house. Price of the house is £250,000. James has to pay a deposit for the house. Deposit is 15% of the price of the house. James already has part of the deposit. He's got £32,000. How much more money does James need for the deposit? 4 marks for this. Right. So let's have a look at this. To do with percentage, definitely. Okay, so we're going to have to work out 15% of the price of the house. Well, we need to write it in numbers first. What's $250,000? You should know what it is, but if you're not sure, what is a million? A million has 3 zeros and then another 3 zeros. You've got 6 zeros on top. That's a million. If you halve it, you'll get 500,000 and halve it again, you'll get 250,000. Yeah, so if you're not sure, $250,000, a quarter is you halve it and you halve it again. Yep, that's 250,000. So you get a mark just for showing that 250,000. However you show it makes no difference. So we need 15% of that. Let's do 15% of 250,000. Let's type it in our calculator. I get 37,500, and that's in pounds. So that's how much the deposit will be. He's already got that much. Yeah, so we're pretty close. Again, you know, do look for these little clues. He's pretty close to the deposit. He's already got 32,000. How much more does he need? What's the difference between 32,000 and that? So I have to take it away. This will tell us how much more he needs, which is 5,500. There's your 4 marks just for doing that. It's not too bad. Yep, so we've got 1 mark for that, 1 for that, 1 for that, and 1 for that. There's your 4 marks right there. Yep, dead easy. Let's move on. Show a check of your percentage calculation. Oh, okay. Show a check of your percentage calculation. What was our percentage calculation? Well, that was, let me rewrite it. It was this, wasn't it? 15% of 250,000. Which was that. Right, so it doesn't want you to do a check of everything, just this bit here. This was the percentage bit, wasn't it? Where we worked out 15%. It wants you to do the opposite of that. So we have to start off with that answer, or 15% of the amount, and work backwards. So that working backwards, instead of multiplying by 250,000, you'll have to divide by 250,000. And then opposite of dividing by 100 is times by 100. Yeah, and you should get 15. Double check on the calculator, but yeah, you should get 15. If you type that in the calculator, you should get 15. I'm sure it is. Let me check it. Divided by 250,000 times by 100. Yeah. Yeah, 15. Just make sure you put the correct number of zeros in there for your extra mark. There you go. Just that. Yep. Yep. Let's move on. Oh, that was it. That was the last question. Done. That's that paper done. On to set 3. I shall see you in a moment.